Not yet. It is the tail end of tryouts for U13 and above here. So that is kind of jam-packed into 2 weeks. So our B teams finish off this weekend. So they're sort of at the tail end of the process. We're doing a new skill program based on the Fundamental 5 that I talked about earlier. So that started last week. So I'm not running it. It's actually one of the first programs that I'm designing the whole curriculum for and training all the instructors, but I'm actually not on the ice for. So that's kind of fun to see how that gets implemented and executed when I'm not the one doing so. And then we're providing for our U9 and U11 players, because their tryouts are in the fall. We're doing evaluations based purely on skill. So we teach in the first 6 weeks of the program, we teach all the fundamentals of the Fundamental 5. And then in the final 2 weeks, we evaluate them on those skills. So basically repeating a lot of the drills that they would have seen earlier. And then they'll get some information, some feedback on skills. So it does not include compete level, hockey IQ, overall effectiveness as a player. It's purely skill-based, with the intent being, if you got a 2 out of 5 on skating, and the comments say needs to learn how to turn left, that if you are, eager to make a rep team in the fall, that you might go and address that. And if you're just a house league player who just wants some feedback, that's cool too. So it's not mandatory, and we have in that U9 and U11 program, we have 160 players who've signed up in 8 different groups. And then we have a similar program for U13 and above, all the way up to U18 that has 160 players, but they don't receive the evaluation. So that's just pure, hockey schoolish instruction. So pretty big undertaking, but I'm thankful I've maybe figured out some of my thoughts on how to develop these skills, and I've got all the videos to support them. But my 2 lead instructors with Total Female Hockey are kind of running the show. So it's an 8-week program, and I won't be here for most of it. I'm going on the road here for 2 months starting next week. So I'll be off with the trailer with the family for 2 months. So if they need to troubleshoot it, they won't be able to get me. So yeah, it'll be, that's kind of what's happening here, and dealing with all the trauma and drama of tryouts. It's always super fun, but I've done that for 15 years, so that's no problem. Nothing a coach or a player or a parent can say to me will ruffle anyone's feathers. So yeah, just tying up some loose ends before we head on the road next week. But hockey never stops in Toronto, Wally. Spring hockey, all that. I had a family say, "Oh, wait, we're not going to tryouts because we're going to a spring hockey tournament in Nashville." I thought to myself, that's you live in Toronto, right? You live in Toronto, the hotbed, and yet you fly to Nashville. So it sounds fun and ridiculous, but hey, got money to burn. I guess it's a good way to burn it.
Party.
Well, listen, yeah, I mean, I might, I say I don't do spring hockey, but if my kids really want to do it and I get to go to Nashville and party while my kids play mediocre hockey, I mean, it's not the worst thing ever. Not the worst use of my money. But anyways, yeah, so yeah, just all that. And then just planning for next season. But like I said, I shut her down here for 6 to 8 weeks starting next week. So I won't be around. I won't be sharking for a while. So make sure you say some brilliant things so when I can watch the recordings, I learn something.
Al Ramsey, what's going on in your world? Tryouts, or are people trying to steal players away, or what's going on?
All the good stuff. Sorry, Wally, I have computer problems here, so my mic wouldn't come off mute earlier when you called on me, and then I got kicked out when I put my video on. So, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're through our tryouts now. So for my one association, we had them back in March, so which is fairly early down here. So that team's been straightened away for a while. The other association, the main one I'm involved with, we finished them up there mid-April. So right now we're still working through a few things, trying to find coaches for a couple of the teams. We had a lot of growth this year. Like for next year, we're looking at, I think, 12 or 13 new teams. So it's going to take us up to, we've gone from about 250 players. Next year, we're going to have about 700, over the course of like 4 years. So it's been a fairly significant step up. But I'm kind of in the middle of my annual break. So I try to take at least a month where I don't really do a whole lot in terms of hockey, just to get a mental break, and my son to get him a physical break, and turning down a lot of spring tournaments and spring tournament teams and coaching and him playing. And it just seems like every day somebody emails it. There's so much of that stuff going on. It's kind of like what Kim was saying, the trips to Nashville, and there's a lot of local ones here as well. But we did do a clinic last week. It's our fundraiser thing that we do every year at the end of April, but pretty much nothing until the end of May in terms of the hockey, And it's been great. It's been a really nice little reprieve with my son, right? Like, he, at the end of the season, it was long, especially playing on 2 teams this year. It was a lot of hockey, 5 days a week, at least. And, every day he wants to go play catch, he wants to go play lacrosse, and he wants to go throw the basketball around and all this stuff. He's like, he gets off the bus and it's like gym class, pretty much, he's having a ball. So, and he's having the opportunity to hear a few different voices. He's got, a fairly good baseball coach, and his lacrosse team is, he likes that. So.
Are you going to, I was going to ask you, the last name Ramsey, and I sent a text to you. There's a Ramsey girl that played at the Olympic Oval. She was a national team candidate from PEI. Do you know if she's related to you?
Definitely not closely, but
Okay.
Probably, depending on how far back you go.
She's in Germany, graduated from university there, playing pro soccer and has played hockey, but she was a national team candidate. So
that's interesting.
I saw the name and I was curious about that, because I don't know how many Ramseys there are in PEI, but there must be a lot. So
yeah, there's a fair amount. They got there quite a while ago, so there's connections way back probably. But yeah, looking forward to getting home. We're going end of June. We're going to go back. We're going to spend a week at Allen's hockey school. My son's kind of looking forward to that. So that's his big thing over there. That's his camp for the summer. Although now he wants an overnight camp of some kind. So we could try and figure out something else. Just send him to the woods somewhere.
Okay. Well, listen, I've got to head out here. I've got some appointments to attend to. Got to get my dog to the groomers. And